And, okay, I'm not going to edit this video because I want people to see that I actually do more than what they see in order to create a video. But this is a test. This video is just a test. Hello there, Sully, the retired tanker yanker. Welcome to Transitions. What I want to do here is experiment with some title panels for my intro and outro. I decided it would be easier if I would just use my my graphic software program here. It's called Online Graphic Designer, to make panels, art if you will, for my intro and outro. And I also edited my theme music. Just actually tried to tweak the sound on it a little bit to make it sound a little bit less muddy. If you'll recall, I did record it on my phone, and I used some software that I have here to sort of adjust it. It's actually in my editing software to adjust the sound and see if I can make it sound a little better. So what I want to do is I want to make this video, I want to upload it, and you're going to see the various panels that I designed. And if you have some thoughts on it, feel free to comment. I mean, I'm just trying to make this process easier. I'm trying to improve the product because, you know, with only 91 subscribers, my channel isn't growing the way I'd like it. I mean, I want to get to that point where this becomes a money-making proposition for me. And the only way that's going to happen is if you subscribe to my channel, and I got to make it more interesting. Some upcoming ideas I have is to take some road trips now that I got a decent car, Big Red. The one video I want to make is, well, it's been on YouTube before, the Reading Terminal Market. But I really want to go through there and make some video there and show you what goes on in there. And it's quite a fascinating place. I always called the Reading Terminal Market the best part of jury duty in Philadelphia, because you get a 10% discount if you go in there to the various restaurants in there and show your juror badge. And it also, you know, the one thing is, you'll get people come up and want to ask you about the case, and when you're sitting on a jury, you're not allowed to discuss that case with anybody, including your fellow jurors. So it kind of makes it awkward if you go to lunch with one of your fellow jurors and they want to talk about the case, and you want to do the right thing and follow the rules, you know. And I'll tell you, I was a juror on a trial one time where I really felt bad because I knew we were going to find for the plaintiff. It was a civil case where a fellow was hurt on the job and he was suing his company because they had obviously screwed up, and their defense was disorganized from the get-go. I don't know where they found the lawyer, but she was a piece of work. She kept reminding us that that Union Pacific is a railroad, or rather Norfolk Southern. I think it was Norfolk Southern he worked for. And she kept reminding us that that's a railroad. Yeah, what does that have to do with it? It's a railroad, it's a business. I worked for 4 trucking companies in my career. They're trucking companies. Yet, I'm sure these trucking companies have been sued. In fact, I know that the first trucking company I worked for, Warner Enterprises, just was sued, and the plaintiffs were awarded $40 million, which I guess that means C.L. Warner's probably going to have to sell his Learjet. I don't know. I don't even know if he's still alive, to tell you the truth, but $40 million, I'm sure Warner can afford it. They can write a check. And they're going to keep hiring substandard trainers and substandard drivers. Their standards have, I mean, they weren't all that great when I worked there, but at least they're not as bad as they are now. I mean, I was out on the road yesterday and I saw a driving school truck, and I won't mention the name, but their initials are Smith and Solomon, and it said Warner Enterprises on the side. And when I went to work for Warner, if you went to that particular school, they wouldn't even have considered you. And now it's one of their partner schools. I mean, if you come there and want to work for them and you don't have a CDL, that's where they're going to send you. And that's one of those 4-week schools that I talked about in my one of my So You Want to Be a Trucker videos. I don't mean to denigrate, because I'm sure that there are people that school has produced that have had good careers in driving. I just, you know, I personally, if you want a recommendation from me, I wouldn't recommend that school, simply because there are better schools out there. But, you know, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to denigrate Smith and Solomon. Or am I trying to denigrate Warner Enterprises? Because you know, they're a fine company if that's what you want to work for. I mean, I have my opinions about the company, but you got to remember I last worked there in 1996 too. So you know, that's more than 23 years ago I left there, and I'm sure things have changed. Maybe some for the better, maybe some for the worse. I don't know. But anyway, that's not the point of this video either. The point of this video is to test the graphics that I made. Oh, by the way, if you hear something in the background, I am watching the spacewalk that's going on now. It's a live feed on YouTube, and I think it's the first time that they had two women walking in space. It looks like they're replacing a battery pack, and it looks like they're just going back into the ISS now. So I'm sure I'm going to hear from the flat earthers about, oh, that's all CGI, you know. I love it how they claim that Neil Armstrong's landing on the moon was all CGI. I want to talk about that, by the way. I was just watching that. They've done a remaster of it, and it's available on YouTube. Did you know that the man who invented television, Philo Farnsworth, did not own a television himself until 1969? The reason is, when he patented his system, there was a fellow by the name of David Sarnoff who saw great commercial potential in television, and that was not Farnsworth's intention at all. He wanted to use it for education and communication. You know, not to tell the world that they have BO, or they're wearing the wrong brand of shirt, or, I guess back in those days, smoking the wrong brand of cigarette, or using the wrong toothpaste. But Philo Farnsworth hated commercial television. He hated the beast that he created so much that he refused to own a television set until 1969. And what motivated him to buy a television was the moon landing, because somebody informed him, and he later found out from NASA, that the system that Armstrong and Aldrin used on the moon was basically the system that he invented. Oh yes, 40 years of technology enabled them to make the cameras and transmitters a lot better, a lot smaller, a lot lighter. But basically, what we saw when we saw that back in July of 1969, that was, those television pictures were basically using the system that Philo Farnsworth invented, and that motivated him to buy a television. And that's the only reason he bought it, was to watch the moon landings. So you people say it was all CGI. I got some bad news for you. CGI had not been invented in 1969. The people that say that the photograph that Jim Lovell took in December of 1968 when Apollo 8 was returning from the moon, well, that's Photoshop. I got some bad news for you. Photoshop hadn't been invented in 1968. And to create a photograph that looked that good, so good that it was the cover of Life magazine, to create a photograph like that would have cost, back in those days, millions and millions and millions of dollars, basically because the technology hadn't even been invented yet to produce accurate computer-generated images. I mean, the computers on the Apollo 11 Columbia lunar module basically had less computing ability than your cell phone. And it's amazing that the flat earthers and space deniers who post on YouTube don't realize it, that satellites in geosynchronous orbit, so many hundreds of thousands of miles or so many hundreds of thousands of kilometers in orbit, are the reason why they're able to beam their confused message around the world. So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bust on flat earthers again. I got a comment from one flat earther saying that I'm a stupid old man. Why? Because I believe that the earth is round? Well, the fact that the earth is a globe was proven by another stupid old man way back in the day. His name was Aristotle. Okay, so that's my rant for today. You probably saw in the intro my Throwback Thursday card. I'm going to use that as a secondary title card when I do my Throwback Thursday video. And I was watching the one I posted yesterday, and I stand corrected, by the way. Bob Weir was 72 years old yesterday. He was born in 1947, not 1948. My bad, Bobby. And again, happy birthday. And may you live to have many more. I still enjoy your music, and I'm even hoping that the next time Dead and Company come over to Camden, I'm going to check it out. It's kind of hard for me to get to concerts. I think the last concert I went to was The Gatherings. It was about a year ago. In fact, it was a year ago today when I saw, it wasn't Eric Wallow, it was, who was it? It was, all I can remember, it was the best Gatherings concert that I've been to. Uh, and now I'm brain farting. I know there's a Gatherings tomorrow, and I think I got my card for it here somewhere. Uh, I'm brain farting here right now. Oh, anyway, that was the latest concert I went to. And that concert was only $20 anyway. It's they charge $20 at the door, and it's electronic and space music, and they hold the concerts inside an Anglican church in University City. But anyway, I digress again. So this is my test video to see. I just want to put this up and see how it goes, and so thanks for bearing with me. And if you have anything to say about it, be sure to drop a comment. And remember that I really need subscribers. It's not hard to subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button. And if you can't subscribe for some reason, like you don't have a Gmail account, well, opening your Gmail account is easy. Just go to Gmail and open it up and use it as a secondary email address if need be. And in fact, I know people that use it as their that they start out with that intent and they wind up using their Gmail account as their primary email address. It's easy because Gmail is on every smartphone, and I really appreciate any feedback I get, even negative feedback. Like I said, I got a pretty thick skin. It's pretty hard to offend me. And I got to say, the guy that called me a stupid old man, and that is an ad hominem attack. And I just simply pointed out that, before I was a truck driver and before I worked in the lawn and landscape business, I spent 8 years working as a counselor for troubled youth. I don't have a college degree in it. I only have 1 year of college, but I studied psychology 2 years in high school, and I had 2 psychology classes the year I went to college. So, had I gone on and gotten my degree in business data processing, which is what I was going for, I probably would have minored in psychology. And, it's helped me out. My friend Mike, you saw him in the Slippery Rock video, he's actually a social worker. And he has a degree in social work and from Slippery Rock. The bear story. Yes, I mentioned that Big Red ran over a bear. Didn't get any nasty comments about it, but here's what happened. I was driving up on I-80 on the way out. And, if you've ever been up on I-80, some people mistake that for the speed limit. Guilty as charged. And I saw something black laying on the road, and I thought, oh, that's just an alligator. I didn't have a chance to steer around it to change lane because quite frankly, I was going 80 miles an hour. And I mean, my friend said, hey, Jar, look out. And I said, that's an alligator. I'll be careful. And when I got up to it, I said, that's no alligator. That is a dead black bear cub. Just laying dead on the road. And it must have been recently killed. I went right over it. So I went about a mile down the road because I figured if there's a dead bear cub around there, Mama's probably nearby and she's probably grieving. And the last thing she needs is some old fart truck driver, retired truck driver, running over her dead child. And, I feel bad about it, but, hey, I'm not the one who killed the bear. I did run it over and didn't really do much damage to my car. There was a secondary heat shield on the catalytic converter, and it kind of knocked that down. Things only held on by 4 grommets, and from what I understand, these things are pretty much designed to fall off at some point, which is what it did. It was hanging on by one grommet. I was just able to pull it off, and I thought, man, should I save this? It doesn't look like it's damaged. And I turned it over, and it had blood on it, and it was pretty grisly. So I just tossed it aside. And I'll get my car inspected next August if it doesn't pass inspection, because that they'll just have to put a new one on. But I've had those things fall off of cars in the past, and you know there was no other damage to the car. There was no damage to the body, and no damage to the underside. The muffler is still intact, and everything is fine. And I was able to continue the trip, made the trip back, and I had to run another errand where I had to drive out near Lancaster earlier this week, doing a favor for a friend. And it is what it is. But anyway, good thing you're only seeing me from this way up, because this may be the first video I made in my drawers. Anyway, I got to get going on those trucker interviews at truck stops, and I might even do that tomorrow, see how things go. And I want to do Reading Terminal Market, and what I want to do is, after Thanksgiving, I want to go up to Lahaska, PA, to Peddler's Village, make a video up there, because they put out a nice spread at Christmas time. But anyway, that's where I stand right now. Things were kind of rough and stressful, and also I was busy with a project this week that it took just about every bit of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and part of yesterday, and got a little stressed out over that, and a few other things going on around here that are stressing me out. You know, I don't need stress like that. Somebody's car alarm is going off. I guess you can hear that horn. Somebody commented during my flat earth throwing the flirts under the truck, they thought they heard crickets chirping in the background, and I think what you heard, sir, was my smoke alarm, because it had a low battery. It's a hardwired smoke alarm, but the battery was low, and it was going chirp, chirp, chirp every now and then. That's probably what you heard. 25 years of driving a truck, I've learned to shut out background noise. That's the level of concentration that I have. And also my hearing isn't all that great anymore. I don't know if it's being inside the cabin, hearing the cab noises, driving with the window open, or if it had something to do with those two Grateful Dead concerts I went to back in 1981 at the old Stanley Theater in Pittsburgh. Both nights I was leaning against the stage, and I was maybe 20 feet from Jerry Garcia, and maybe even a little closer to their speakers. Two great shows. Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about going to the Dead. You can see them 2 nights in a row, and they won't play the same song a second time. You hear a different show every night. That's the great thing about the Dead, and you know, with Dead and Company now going on there, they realize that people go to shows on multiple nights, and they don't want to hear the same song over and over again. I mean, they make up their set list pretty much as they go. I mean, even they've been known to amend the set list even after the show started. So anyway, let me get this video uploaded, get it edited, and let me see what it looks like. And if you have any ideas, be sure to drop a comment. And again, please, 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 please subscribe to my channel and like my videos. And if you're watching this video on Facebook, be sure to drop your like and comment, not on Facebook, but on YouTube. And if you're watching this on Twitter, be sure to drop your like, not on Twitter, but on YouTube. Now, if you do that, and then you still want to drop me a like on Facebook or Twitter, be my guest. Some of you are going to be watching this on Instagram too. I just share with all my followers on Instagram as I do with my followers on Twitter, and my friends on Facebook. So, and I do share it to the Sully the Tanker Yanker group page. I encourage you to sign up for that page, or to like that page and follow it. I don't have a lot of following on that page just yet, and you know, just basically it's a place for me to put these videos only, and keep my my snide comments and my Far Side cartoons on my regular Facebook news feed. And I also want people to share things. The only rules I have is nothing pornographic, Nothing relating to politics and nothing relating to religion. I go out of my way to avoid politics and religion, quite frankly, because people's opinions, number one, are based solely on the input they get, and a lot of them get their input from biased news sources. I will say this, that the most reliable news source in this country is not in this country. I hate to break the news to you, but the only fair and balanced news coverage we get in this country is from the BBC. And that's because they have a government mandate to be 100% neutral. NPR is supposed to be, but I catch NPR leaning to the left every now and then, and quite frankly, I don't like that. I do know that they do have people on there who do lean to the right, and they're more interested in informational content than advancing an agenda. But sometimes I don't get that impression from NPR, and I don't like that. And we do have lots of biased news sources in this country. We have CNN, we have MSNBC, we have Fox, and those three, I mean, those three are probably the most biased news sources out there, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And I don't like any of them. I don't even watch or listen to anything that comes, any of the garbage that comes out of MSNBC, any of the garbage that comes out of CNN, any of the garbage that comes out of Fox. I just try to ignore it as much as possible because I know it's slanted and it's biased. And slanted and biased means garbage. They engage in what's called yellow journalism. They present stories without checking facts, and they get caught in it. And I really abhor yellow journalism. I really want to see fair and balanced news coming from a news source in this country, and unfortunately we can't get it. We have to go across the pond to England to get fair and balanced news coverage of things going on in the United States, and that's the BBC. And the nice thing about the BBC is you get stuff from all around the world, not just in your backyard. And the BBC has always been that way, by the way. I think during World War II, the BBC was very, very, very informative to our troops who were over in Europe. And even Babe Ruth went on the BBC. So that's why I really don't like to delve into politics, and I'm not going to tell you who I voted for. And I'm not going to tell you what my religious opinions are. Of course, if you're a flat earther, I will take you to task if you refute something I say. Because, the earth is round. Get over it. All I'm saying to a flat earther is show me a picture of the flat earth from space. And, just like NASA did back in 1968, before CGI, before Photoshop, when Jim Lovell pointed that camera out the window of his Apollo space capsule and took a picture of the earth as they were in their transit rather, from the moon back to the earth. Okay? Until the flat earth can show me a picture of the earth taken from space that shows it to be flat and covered with a dome. Until that time, you're not going to convince me. And if you to tell me that I've been duped by pseudoscience, when somebody's here's how to tell when somebody has been brainwashed. Okay? They tell you that you've been brainwashed. Okay? I did one of my So You Want to Be a Trucker videos about con men in truck stops. Well, not necessarily. I've been watching a lot of videos of the people who go on to these, who actually get the call from the scammer saying that we're from the IRS, you owe us money, and the cops are on their way to arrest you. That's actually what they say in the recording. The cops will come to arrest you. Well, cops don't like being called cops. They like to be called the police. And they say that the IRS, if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to cancel your driver's license. How do they go about doing that? The IRS does not have the authority to suspend a person's driving privilege. That is strictly the motor vehicle department of your particular state. That's what they do. And the IRS does not, the IRS is a federal agency. They do not have the authority to suspend your driver's license. Bottom line is, if you get one of those robocalls saying that the police are coming to arrest you, there's a warrant for your arrest, it's a scam. Just ignore. In fact, anybody calling you up out of the blue and asking you for money, or telling you that they're from the technical support department of Microsoft, or you got a refund coming to you, got money coming to you, or this or that thing, just hang up the frickin' phone. It's a scam. Somebody calls you up asking for donations for the Police Survivors Fund. That's a good one. I get calls from these people all the time, and they'll say, "Is Angelo there?" "Well, I'm sorry, you have a wrong number." "Well, maybe you can help me, sir." No, I can't help you. I'm not Angelo. You have a wrong number." "No, I'm calling from this." Yeah. So the one guy, actually, the guy wouldn't shut up. He kept saying he's calling from the Police Survivors Fund. I said, "Oh yeah, I've heard about you people." He said, "Oh, you have?" He says, "Yeah, I heard you're a bunch of expletive deleted thieves and scam artists, and you don't give 1 cent to the police." And you know who told me that? A police officer. And then I hung up the phone. What's another one that I get a lot? I haven't been getting the computer virus calls lately. Probably because one time I called them up and I started saying, "Yeah, I don't have one of them there computers. I live in my car. We're parked outside the dumpster out behind the Pizza Hut because they throw away a lot of good food. But I understand that their Ruby Tuesdays is a lot better. So as soon as I can afford a tank of gas, I'm going to drive the car over to that dumpster." And my little girl, she's only got one leg, and she lives in the car with me, and she laughs and laughs and laughs because she's happy when she's out of the car, and I tell her, "Hey, hop in." And she thought I was going on with the guy for like a half an hour. And then after that, he still gave the spiel, and I said, "Well, I don't have one of them there computer things, but my cousin Bubba, he's got one. Yeah, I think they call it the Commodore or something. Oh, he can do some amazing things with that." And the guy says, "Well, ask him to call this number because he has a virus in his computer." I guess I had nothing better to do that day, and I decided to have fun. So, light stick. There it's flashing. Ooh, isn't it something? Check that out. I think this was left behind by that person who is now incarcerated and doesn't live here anymore. How do you turn it off now? There, I turned it off. So anyway, I'm going to let this go now. So let me know what you think of my new graphics. For transitions, this is Sully, the retired tanker yanker. Safe and happy travels.